into June of 1965. The Surfers have been winning their fair share and maybe somebody else's. There's probably a few guys now that don't like the Surfers as they keep winning. And on the 6th of June, you were runner-up at the pond. If you don't know, that's San Fernando. It was called the Frog Pond. And then shortly thereafter was the Hot Rod Magazine meet at Riverside. Put on every year. Always a great meet. Everybody from across the country showed up. Big meet. So you qualified. You were the first out, qualified. Did your thing. You raced Denny Milani and Ted Gatelli's car in the first round. And then it says you crashed. Now, crash and the Surfers don't go together. You crashed at Riverside? What do you know about that?
Okay, it was not a crash in the sense of going down the drag strip kind of crash. It was a crash pushing through the pit area. So we service our car after that round and refuel it and adjust and do whatever you do. So we're pushing back through the pits, and this is June now. Real nice summer day, sun shining.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, here's this young lady, and kind of scantily clad, and she's getting a good start on her tan, and she's walking left to right across the roadway that we're going down. And so Mike Sorokin's in the dragster driving it. He looks to the right, so he turns a little bit to the right. Bob Skinner's driving a 55 Chevy push car, and he follows her to the right, so he turns to the right. I'm riding shotgun, and I look to the right. Anyway, this whole mess just goes over to the right. Well, here is Ed Pink and his little pit area. He's got his dragster, and he's got this beautiful brand new Dodge station wagon, real high dollar one, the most expensive one that money can buy.
I've got a color slide of it. We'll put it on the screen.
I think it was pink and white, or maybe all pink. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I got 2 station wagons of his.
Okay, and they were always beautiful.
Yes.
Well, anyway, when the dragster hits his station wagon, and we're all still looking, I look back at the first hit, and I see Pink just standing there, and he watched this whole thing happen to him, and he couldn't say a word. He just stood there, because it wasn't going to do any good to say anything. And as I remember, when it wadded up the front end, so the front wheels are way out from the engine, back, wadded up, and I think they were up on top of the blower, or at least that was my mental recollection. It's up on top of the blower. It all comes to a screeching halt. Nobody's been hurt. Everybody's feeling stupid, or at least on our team. We're all feeling stupid. And it just trashed the back of the station wagon.
Oh, no.
It's brand new. And we just did more damage than I'm sure all three of us, me, Bob Skinner, and Mike Sorokin, collectively have.
Yeah.
We caused more damage. And Ed Pink just had this exasperated sigh, just kind of, what can we do?
Yeah, what could you do for him? Did you guys help him out at all in terms of repair costs or anything, or did he have enough money to take care of the money to give to him? So that was just the way it was.
To his eternal credit, he never gave us a bill for it. He never said anything. He just took care of it. And I think I told the same story for an article that was in Hot Rod Magazine, and the lady who wrote the article, Ilana Scheer, she went and asked Ed Pink about the whole thing, and he said, "No," he says, "they didn't have any money. I just took care of it and turned it into my insurance or whatever."
Wow.
Anyway.
And Tom, the young lady's reaction?
Oh, just when all the crashing happened, I looked back over, and she looked back over her shoulder and just smiled at the end. And just kept right on going.
As beautiful young ladies do when these things happen, right?
It was
pressure's on.
It was a classic deal.
Who came? Didn't somebody step forward to help you with this problem of the frame?
I think so. I think this is where Frank Huzar finally says, "Okay, I've had enough. You guys got to bring that thing over to my chassis factory, and we're going to put a proper front half on that thing, and which I believe happens at this point, and we end up with the best front half that the car ever had. It was just deluxe, but done by real people that knew what they were doing. It was great.
Yeah. And the wheelbase now would be what?
I think the last one was 157, just because that was what was
Fit in the
popular,
garage.
and it still fit in the garage.
Still fit in the garage, kind of, sort of, right? With the,
So
with
at
the push.
157, it was okay. It was at 167, which was like the second car we built. That one was a press fit.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
But the hole from the push bar was still there, even with the shorter car.
yeah. Okay, onward.
Well, we're moving on into July. Nothing much happened. You were runner-up at San Fernando, and it says you didn't make the last round because you had a bad clutch. Now, this wasn't the time of the slipper clutch, so maybe you just bore one out finally, or it just says you had a bad clutch and couldn't make the call.
Yeah, we had some kind of mechanical difficulties, and I don't remember what they were. But they were all in the clutch housing somehow.
Well, August, you won again at Fontana. And then you, on the 7th, and on the 8th, it says you blew a tire and were runner-up at the pond. And then you went to Lions, and with your 100% nitro, it wouldn't fire when it got cold. One of the reasons you said previously you didn't like Lions, because they got cold at night, and a lot of guys had problems with them sitting too long and they get cold. So you're still, I see why you like Fontana. You go to Fontana, you win.
Yeah.
But it's not like you go there and you're there by yourself. There's always lots of good other cars, so you just found a home.
Did you ever try to solve that problem of the car not starting at Lions at night in the cold? Did you?
Oh yeah, I don't know whose idea of this was, but we ended up disconnecting the fuel pressure line from the fuel pump up to the injector on the top of the blower, and then fill that line with gasoline or there was a bunch of different mixtures people would put in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the first gulp of fuel was something that would be easier to get the engine started. That
Right.
pretty much solved it for everybody.
Okay.
Okay. September. And I don't know what happened. There's an ad here for a 2 out of 3 match race. Now, you haven't match raced since you raced the Jet, and then you were supposed to race the Greek and it rained out. Then here's a match race with the Jungle 4, Mooneyham, Ferguson, Jackson, and Faust. But I have no data. I don't know. I looked it up. Something happened to the report that week. It didn't get in time, and they didn't print it. So, do you remember racing them at all?
I remember racing them, but I couldn't tell you any of the details.
And I have no idea.
No, and then the different people that wrote for Hot Rod Magazine, they had to have their stuff in on what, Tuesday?
Or for
For,
drag news?
for drag,
Or
drag news,
drag
yeah.
news?
And some of the things you had to have them in by Monday night.
Right.
For different,
Yeah, they printed overnight on Monday. So you had to get your story in by the typesetting deadline on Monday evening. And that sometimes they'd hold it, and sometimes
They wouldn't get in.
people didn't get it done.
Yeah.
And it's not like it went in the next week. It just no longer existed.
and then some of the reports from around the country, they had to get to here because it was published here.
Right.
Somehow
Yeah.
they had to get here. Publishing was a tough act in those days.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I mean, there's no you.
And the
email
person
it.
that printed the drag news printed supermarket flyers. that they gave out on Thursday. So they had to get all the printing done on Tuesday night so that they could concentrate on producing the stuff for the supermarkets.
Wow.
That's
For-
important to
for-
know.
That's
For
amazing.
putting in the Thursday morning
Sure.
newspaper.
And then they had to get it done in time to ship the Drag News across the country.
Yeah.
Because it
That was
went-
mostly mail. We always got the thing a week late.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out here-
In Louisiana, it was always a week
Here
late.
it came out on Thursdays.
Yeah.
You went right down to the speed shop.
Yes, you did.
I was a big fan of the Bugatti race cars, and I had a book at home. And the front wheels on Bugattis were always like this, and it's a remnant from when horse-drawn carriages, the wheels would be like this, and the idea was that the weight pushes the wheels onto the axles all the time.
Yeah.
Where if you put them level, they can wander off the end of the axle because they didn't have nice Timken bearings and all that stuff back in the day. So anyway, I always liked that jaunty angle that the front
Camber, positive camber.
yeah, just on the front. And so anyway, we had some little short straight ones originally with that same wood wing. So I made some new ones that went out and had that jaunty angle.
Very good.
So anyway, we're incorporating more and more little tidbits of
Artistic expression.
artistic expression. It has nothing to do with how it works. Or
I like the combination of bracketed weights and hose clamp weights.
Oh, that's
I mean, these are brackets are nice. Don Long told me, he said he reached the epitome of stupidity when he made axle weights of magnesium.
usually a lot of dragsters there was a plate up here across the frame at the front of the frame,
Mhm.
and a lot of times that plate would be made out of magnesium, and that's where they bolted their lead weights on.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, why would they do
What's
that?
the point?
But what it was when they made the motor plates at the back of the motor,
Mhm.
they would cut the center part out where it went around the crankshaft. And so they had these scraps of metal, so they would use them all over the car. And it's magnesium, it's cool. And they have it. So a lot of these little doodads got made out of this scrap magnesium, but it made for a good joke because that's nice, you got a magnesium plate to hold your lead weight.
Yeah.